Hello everyone. So today I want to talk about what's actually changed. Yeah. So in February 2020 there was some announcement, and then in March everything is changed. But the change started a long time ago, but the obvious change started in March when the lockdown began. So before that, our life was so different. We didn't know a lot of phrases like what is social distancing and wear masks all the time. I thought masks only doctors wearing to protect some patients from when they're doing surgeries. That's what I thought. What is masks for? Not that everyone will going to wear masks all the time, and it's also impossible to wear masks all the time because it's not really healthy, because we need to breathe fresh air. This is the real health. Yeah. Anyway, so new laws began, and so new law began to happen so we noticed the change. So if you're looking at police it's aimed to protect citizens from any issues of safety, and that the environment will be safe, will be no crime. And what we are seeing now, that actually some police forces actually target its own citizens they're supposed to protect. What the hell is happening? That's something that the situation was escalating in some countries, like we see in the United States of America. This is something in some states began to happen, that actually some police forces forgot the reason they joined the police and who they are serving. And also we see that different governments around the world actually choosing to repress citizens from their freedom. And that's a worry. And that's something that I noticed already. Since I began my immigration process, I noticed, like in Israel, the country is going to a really bad place, politically, financially, socially, all areas. I saw it in 2010, and that's why I strictly promoted people to have more options, more passport, more residences, acquire skills, because this is the real safety. Yeah. So immigration is basically security and option to improve life. Yeah. So the more passports you have and the more skills you have that are in demand worldwide, the more safety and security you have, and that's the real safety. And that's something that people need to be taught in schools, but unfortunately in the regular schools it's not something that will be taught. Yeah. But if you are looking at which country now in terms of immigration, one of the best places to be while it's this propaganda and conspiracy theory about COVID-19 is a dangerous virus that everybody should be locked out, in their homes or wear masks or all these things. So we can see at the moment like New Zealand and Australia are relatively to other places are all right. Yeah. So when you have passports and residencies in other places, you can choose where you want to be eventually. Yeah. If the intention is to be in a place that is relatively safe and you have freedom. So this is one of the things. Another thing, yeah, so our life is really changed, and all depends at the moment on our level of awareness. People are trying to figure out what the hell is happening, how we came to this situation. Just few months ago was nothing like that, you know, like it was normal. We need to move around the world, we can do whatever, and now there are so many restrictions. But this moment was unavoidable because the financial system is supposed to collapse. It's too much debt, and we've seen around the world lots of governments printing a lot of money, and they're going to be in debt to who? To the big banks, of course. And the big banks, they're the one who creates the money. That's why the system is very false. And if people know the origins of, you know, of how money created, what are the rules, what is really happening, they will understand like a lot of the things that we are experiencing now. It's basically a huge lie, and a lot of things in our life, it's a lie. Everything is upside down. Medicine destroy health, justice system destroy justice, politics destroy freedom. This is what it happens. And I check different theories. Of course, the world will be a lot better without any rulers, because they are the ones who destroy everything. And a lot of people like me want to be free and responsible on their life, but the problem is freedom at the moment is the hardest resource to get. It's quite hard. If you're in your own place and their own environment, it's really hard to get freedom. So eventually what we want, what is freedom is moving around the world. It's choose to eat what you want to eat. Is to choose, if you are sick, how you want to treat yourself and your body. Is freedom is to choose how you want to build your house and your land. Is that freedom? Freedom is to work where you want to work. Yeah, that's freedom. Freedom to breathe fresh air and go to nature. Is that freedom? It is freedom. Yeah, so there are a few things that I wanted to talk. What you should watch out in this tough period if you want to do immigration, because if you want to immigrate to another country, we actually don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what is happening, really. So in this time, it's really good that you will check how governments around the world are behaving towards their citizens. It's really important, because there are some easy times and hard times. So you want to know how different governments behave, because maybe you're not happy with the rules and the options you have in your country, but the other country may be the same or worse. But if you move into other country and you're getting the rights and everything, so you starting like to be like, you know, without rights, a class B citizen, until you get residency and prove your experience. And the other thing is to check what's happening in the job market, because a lot of people losing their jobs and there are lots of changes in the job markets. And as you can see, tourism is one of the most hit hard industries that got really bad. So we see major restrictions in freedom around the world. So of course the country that has least freedom is kind of like, with my definition, is the worst, because my highest value in life is actually freedom. So a lot of the decisions that I make in my life, it comes from that value. And of course everyone has different values that they follow in, and this is mine, and that's the work with the clients that I do also. This is one of the values that they are very kind of focused on. And as we can see, many restrictions on freedom are happening. So of course, if you want to immigrate and move to a place where you're most free, so what do you mean free? So if you are working 40 hours per week and your salary is very low and you're not able to buy a house and you're not able to travel or go to vacations, and so it basically restricts your freedom. But if you're going to a country that you can earn a lot more, and the comparison, the living wage is enough for your needs, so your freedom is escalated. But now since COVID, we have different restrictions. So even the upper middle class, the rich, are getting affected, and people who are not affected are the ultra rich, like you see, like, you know, Elon Musk and the one that owns Amazon, and all the ones who are really rich, they least affected, because there is a worldwide plan. So I don't want to talk about conspiracies or all these names, but I see what's happened around the world the last 10 years, and this is one of the main reasons that driven me to move and immigrate somewhere that I know that will be a major restrictions and changes in people's life, and everything is pre-planned. Like for me, because I know that, I see it clearly, but a lot of people don't see it and can't believe that the world is upside down. It's completely different from what people being taught what is true about the world, and actually the reality is completely different. But what can we do? So also what I'm looking what other successful people are doing. I see they completely stopped traveling, and they are kind of looking to see how they can make themselves safe. So one of the ways people make themselves safe is to live in secured, closed communities with private security, and they're not in contact with everyone. They choosing carefully who they are in contact with. The other thing is like a matter of privacy, so a lot of contract chasing, and as you can see in different countries, some governments are trying to spy on their citizens, and not like they did any kind of crime. They just want to spy on them, where they've been. Something that is happening for a while anyway, as if you have like Google phone or something like that, like everything has been checked and saved and monitored. But now it's actually even goes further. So as you can see, major changes are happening, and also it imposes restrictions on your freedom. If you're looking at different Russian countries, because the life in the cities with those restrictions of freedom became too much, what people did who have money, they left the cities and went to their holiday homes, in Russian called dachas, because how can you actually live while you can't even breathe? When you're wearing a face mask, you can't breathe properly, you're damaging your health, your lungs, and also your identity is covered, so the empathy between people is kind of diminished, so everyone kind of can't recognize each other, and facial expressions become irrelevant anymore, so that's very dangerous. Also, people getting a lot of disinformation and don't know what and how to believe. So for me things are very clear and obvious, but I can understand why people are getting confused. I completely understand them, it's really hard. So what you need to do eventually, what I recommend, my main recommendation, you need to find a way that you will be able to be self-sufficient much as possible, create your own power, your own electricity, choose to grow your own food, yeah, and not to be dependent on anyone. The best is to find a community of people that thinks and do the same as you. But even if you are a family, it's also really good, because actually this is how it's been all the time. You had a family and you needed children, yeah, to help you out, to grow food and sell and things like that, yeah. That's why you needed children in the first place. But at the moment, if you're looking at having children, what is the point of having children? The governments, like in Australia and New Zealand, for example, they taking care. If you have a child, like you're a mom and you want children, you don't need a man anymore, because the government actually provides the safety and the money and the care of the child instead of the man. That's why a lot of women in Australia don't need men actually, and they're not committing to long-term relationship because there is no need for that. So, and I'm not saying that there are no women that don't want long-term relationship. I'm saying just if they don't have to. In comparison to the Russian countries, that basically most women actually need men in order to raise their children. But in Australia and New Zealand they don't, because just can't survive without a man. They don't really need him. Anyway, so this is another big topic of freedom of gender and stuff like that. So different countries are treating it differently. Anyway, so you need to find a way that you be able to be self-sufficient far away from big cities. This is a big must. You need to have a plan B that will be far away from big cities, because now in big cities it's becoming the main concentration of people, and as you can see, a lot of 5G towers being built, of course without your permission and without any safety assurance, and if you resist, so you can fight, and some countries actually were able to push that afar, and some countries don't. It depends on the awareness of their people. But you need to go away from big cities as much as possible. So myself, I was living in Auckland for several years, and I've seen the negative change that's been happening in this place. That's not really relevant to my goals in life. Anyway, so I'm not there anymore. But staying away from big cities is important. And finding a place that you can be safe and go through this crisis. And we don't know how long it's going to take, because now it's kind of in the experimental level. It's experiment for many years. But at the moment, it's also kind of in a experiment. They want to see, like, there is a first wave to see how people react to the demand to be locked at home, and see how their jobs are going to be gone, and their businesses are going to be gone. So we see that. So and now we will going to have second wave, and who knows what will happen next. So but if you're like, I see most people that don't have the skills the different countries, places require, and don't have savings and in huge debt, well, you need to wake up on yourself and make some better plans and better decisions. And eventually, the more you're dependent on the state, the less freedom you have. So if you live in a community that it's created, and you're creating your own electricity and supplying your own water, and you decide how your place is going to look like, yeah? So you don't have to give answers to anyone. Like, let's say in New Zealand you have so many places, even if you buy a land, and if you want to live self-sufficient, and let's say you don't want to build a house, you want to live in a motorhome, and you want to build a yard, or something alternative, something natural that people have lived 1,000 years ago. If you want to do that, why not? But today in New Zealand you have what's called councils, or in Israel it's called Iria, and other countries you have also this, something like that. And they dictate in you, okay, if you buy this land, you must build a house like everybody else. But for house, of course, it's expensive. But if you don't want to get hundreds of thousands to build the house, so actually you can't have it. So that's why it's also restrict your freedom. So the point is to find a place where you can be completely aligned with how you want to live your life and have the least restrictions as possible. And the situation changes almost every day, so this will be my main recommendation. So I wish you all the best, stay safe.